Hello, I'm Kenneth from SKAARHOJ support team. In this video, you'll see how a SKAARHOJ panel can integrate the HTTP protocol. We'll end up controlling multiple devices from the buttons on the panel. Let's have a look at the setup. Today, we are using a rack control Uno and 3 different HTTP devices. But this could be any panel in our Bluepill product line. And it could be any device that use the HTTP protocol. Now, controlling HTTP is a bit different than our normal way of controlling stuff with pre-made commands. HTTP devices come in many shapes, like smart TVs, projectors, lighting appliances, Internet of Things, web services, and much more. And the commands and responses for all these devices are also very different. So, rather than having fixed commands in our integration, we provide the framework and let you fill in the blanks. Okay, here are the steps we'll cover. You'll find bookmarks for them in the timeline. Cabling and addresses. I've connected Ethernet cables from a switch to the rack control Uno and HTTP devices. Then I set static IP addresses on all 3. In Reactor this is done on the settings page, and on the devices it's done using their web UIs. I've also set up internet access. This is needed when downloading new device cores. And finally, set up an account with an online weather service. This provided me a login key. Alright, cabling is done, and now we turn to the SKAARHOJ configuration. Open Reactor. SKAARHOJ panels have a built-in computer. They're network-based and fully self-contained. Configurations are handled from a web browser on your computer, tablet or smartphone. Here we enter the IP address of the rack control Uno and see Reactor, the configuration manager for Bluepill. I prefer to create a new project for my demos, so I click Manage Projects in the window top and click Create New Project. Name it and activate it. Let's also open the configuration menu and create a new custom configuration. This stores how we assign commands to buttons. Okay, now we have a clean slate to work on. And just for good measure, I do suggest that you visit the packages page and install the latest software. But that's covered in another video, so let's head back to the home page. Add HTTP device core. SKAARHOJ panels can control many different devices simultaneously. At devices.skaarhoj.com you can see the full list of over 400 devices we control. To control a device, it must be added to the project. In the right side of the screen, we click Add Device. By default, Reactor will auto-discover devices on your network if it's able to. But here we click Add Manually to see the full list of compatible devices. I'll enter HTTP to filter the list and select the generic model. This downloads the device core from our server and opens the settings window. I'll just close it again for now. In this video, we'll control 3 distinct devices, so I'll make 2 copies of my first device. It may spawn an alert on missing info, but never mind that for now. As you see, we only need 1 device core to handle multiple HTTP devices. Now, let's specify the basic connection. Let's start with the Magewell video converter. I click the device name to open the settings window. Here I name it Magewell and enter its path, which is a static IP address followed by a slash. All 3 devices require us to log in, but they do so in 3 different ways. For this one, we use an init command with username and password embedded. This is sent on first connect and automatically stored in a cookie. Alright, that's it for now. we save this device. Next device is our NETIO power socket. And here you should know we actually have a specific device core for NETIO with all commands pre-made. So if you have a NETIO product, you would use the NETIO device core instead of HTTP. We just use it here to showcase how HTTP works. OK. We open the settings window, enter the name NETIO and path, again a static IP address and a slash. And this device uses basic authentication with a username and password. These are sent on connect and stored in a cookie. That's it, we save it. And finally, we set up our weather service. Click to open it, name it weather, and enter the path to their online API. We do not specify any credentials. Instead, we use our access key as part of every command we send. So we just save it. Alright, we now have basic connection and access to the 3 devices. All we need now is to assign commands to the buttons. Assign Cowboy trigger command. Our first task will be to select 2 NDI sources on the Magewell converter. In the Magewell web UI, I have named 2 inputs cam1 and cam2. And in the Magewell documentation, I found how to format the setChannel command and copied it. To assign commands, we go to the configuration page. Here we see a graphic version of the RegEx control UNO. Click the first button to select it in the inspector. Now we see the types of commands we can assign. These include system and navigation commands and also commands for each device we have added. We open Magewell and choose Other Parameter. Here is a list of all commands. We simply need to fire from the hip, so we choose Cowboy trigger. In the parameter settings window, we just click Submit and confirm to automatically select a trigger behavior. Since this is a simple command with everything included in the path, we set request type to GET and paste the command into the path field. Finally, let's name the button. We do this in the default feedback where we rename text line to cam1. OK, let's copy the button and paste it to the next one. Here we change the path to cam2 and update the display name. Now let's test it. Oh yeah, we actually do toggle the 2 inputs. Yeehaw! This was a typical Cowboy trigger demonstration. Get versus post. For Magewell, the entire command is contained in one single line called a path. In HTTP lingo, this is called get. And here, get actually means sending, not getting. Another way of formatting commands is called post. The difference is that instead of having just one line, the post command is split into header and body sections, and the sections are JSON encoded. To show this, we'll use our NETIO power socket as it uses post instead of get. Our NETIO has 8 power outputs. We want to control output 1, and in their online documentation, I found how to format the command, and I copied it. So, we click an available button, open NETIO and Other Parameter, and select the Cowboy trigger, and click OK to confirm the trigger behavior. This time we select the request type post. As the path, we enter netio.json. This is the file that receives our request. In the header section, we tell that this is JSON encoded. And in the body section, we enter the JSON encoded command. It says output 1, action 4, which means toggle output 1 on and off. And finally, we update the display name. Let's try it out. Oh yeah! Output 1 is turned on and off. Alright, we have now sent basic commands using both get and post. Stored commands. Until now, we used Cowboy trigger, a simple way to fire and forget a command. But you often need a bit more complexity, such as toggling two values between cam 1 and 2 or turning something on and off. This can be done using stored commands. They let you specify two versions of a command, such as on and off. And later, we'll even add dynamic values to them. To show this, we'll redo the Magewell commands where we selected two NDI sources, but this time using a stored command. First, we go to Homepage and open the Magewell settings. Here we locate the Stored Commands section and click plus to create a command. We call it CamSelect. The type is still get. And now we have access to Command A and Command B, intended for the two versions of the command. In the first, we enter the Select Cam1 command. And in the second, we enter it again, but edit it to Cam2. And we save it. Now we go to the configuration page. Click a button to select it, open Magewell, and this time we select Command A and confirm the trigger behavior. Here we select Command 1, which is the command we just saved. Open Show More and rename text line to Cam1. Let's do it again for the next camera. Click a button, select Magewell, and now select Command B, which is the second command version. Confirm behavior, select Command 1 again, and name it Cam2. OK, we can now select the two cameras using the two versions of the same command. We can actually assign both versions to one single button. This is called toggle. Select a button, open Magewell, and now select Command Toggle. Submit and confirm. Pick Command 1 again and name it Toggle. Now we can toggle A and B in the stored command. Great! And please know you can store up to 100 commands. Using variables. Stored commands also allow us to merge two variables into the commands. So instead of saying output number specific 1 or action number specific 4, we can say output, a variable, and action, another variable. And these variables can be controlled separately, could be on other buttons or even by listening to other devices. This can really make a single command do a lot. Let me show you how using our NETIO device. Here we'll make both the selected output and its state dynamic. First, we assign the command to a button. Open NETIO, choose Other Parameter, select Command A, submit and confirm to select the trigger behavior. We choose Command 1, which we'll make in a moment. And now we use the predefined variables. Set P1 to 1, this will be output 1, and P2 to 4, this is the toggle action. Alright, now we go to the home page and open the NETIO settings. Here we click plus to create a command. Let's call it output. The request type is post. Command A holds our path to netio.json. The header specifies the encoding, and in the body we paste the command from earlier, but we replace 1 and 4 with 2 placeholders. In this case, \d1 and \d2. Backslash means this is a placeholder. D means a digit, and 1 and 2 are the P1 and 2 variables we set on the button. So \d1 means insert variable 1 as an integer. There are other placeholders, for example \s1, which means insert variable 1 as a string value, or \n, which means new line. Please read more about this in our Wiki article HTTP Device Core. It has lots of information on how to use this core. You'll find a link to it in the description. Okay, back on track. We save our command and return to the configuration page. Now let's test it. Oh yeah, output 1 is turned on. Let's change the P2 value to 0 and try again. Yes, lamp 1 is turned off. Okay, now let's specify P1 as output 2 and P2 as 4 for toggle. And yes, we do toggle output 2. As you can see, we can control all 8 NETIO outputs by simply changing the variables. And they don't need to be assigned here. This could be any variable in the system. Let me show you how. First, I click the panel background to show all variables. Here I create a new variable called output and set it to a range from 1 to 8. Then I assign it to an encoder. Open System, Change Variable, and select Output, and confirm the behavior selection. Now the encoder controls the output variable and simply scrolls through the numbers 1 to 8. Finally, we'll link it to our Send Command button. Here we click the pencil to edit the parameter, change P1 from being a local behavior to a variable, and select our new output. Click Submit, but keep other settings. Okay, let's check it out. As I change the variable, the command controls different outputs. That's just sweet. Parsing responses. Until now, we've just been sending out commands, but it can also be very useful to listen for replies from the devices. For example, when we toggle the NETIO power socket, it actually sends back a text including the status of the outputs. We can use this to color the button green if on or red if off. In a similar way, we can send a command to the Magewell converter asking about the current channel. And the name it replies could be used to select a camera for PTC control. You may notice for both devices that we actually get more text back than we need. From NETIO, we just want the status number for off or on. And from the Magewell, we just want the name. We can actually achieve this by filtering the text using a regular expression or RegEx. This can be quite complex, but luckily there are many RegEx websites that can help you format the desired match. Just Google RegEx Generator. Okay, let's try it ourselves using the NETIO reply. First, we need to see how the actual text looks. This may be found in their online documentation, but to make sure, we can see it in the log file of the HTTP device core. Let's go to the home page and open the HTTP device core settings. Here we turn logging on. Now we go to Packages page and click the HTTP core to open it. Here we see the logs. Let's clear it and send the command. Alright, now we get a long text back. I'll just copy it and paste it into a text editor to make it easier to see. In the text we do see all the power outputs and their current state. We only want the state of output 1, so let's copy this section and go to a RegEx website. I'm using RegEx Generator, but you pick whatever you like. I'll paste our text. Now I mark what I'm interested in this case just this, as a number. Now we can simply copy the resulting expression. OK, let's go back to Reactor. Open the NETIO device and paste the expression into the matching return value field. One thing to note, we need to put a parenthesis around the result we want to grab. In this case, just the number. Alright, the result is stored in a status field in the stored command, and the behavior on the button already shows this in the display. See how it changes between 0 and 1. Let's build upon this to have the button change color. Click the button to select it. Click Show More and set Default Intensity on and color to red. Now we create a conditional feedback called green. Set color to green and set an active if condition. This condition specifies what must be true in order for this feedback to do anything at all. In this case, our status must be 1. We simply copy the status value from the default feedback text line 1. And this must be equal to 1. Alright, let's check it out. Yes, we do have visual confirmation. We know for sure what the device is doing. Now, I want to show you one last example where we bring it all together. This time we'll create a fantastic dynamic thermometer, giving us temperatures from around the world. For this, I'll use our weather device. Go to Home page, open the weather device, and create a command. Call it temp and type get. I've prepared a command A that includes our login key and a string placeholder for a city name. And as the matching return, we look for the temperature in Celsius. I already filtered the text reply from weather.com and made a regex. And finally, we want this to update every 60 seconds so we get changes if the weather improves. OK, we save it and go to the configuration page. Here we need to do 3 things. Create a variable, assign it to a button, and assign the weather command to another button. So, we click the panel to see all variables. Create a new variable called city and enter 3 options: Copenhagen, London, and Rio. Next, we select an encoder and assign system, change variable, and pick the city variable, and confirm the auto behavior. This allows us to scroll through the city names. Now we select a blank button, open weather, choose other parameter, command A. For parameter 1, we choose variable city. And for commands, we choose number 1. Submit and confirm. That's it. We can now see the temperature in all 3 cities. That's just fantastic. I expect having a SKAARHOJ panel and using this config will be popular in millions of homes. Resources. Now, I know that compared to our device-specific cores, the HTTP setup can be quite complex. So please use the resources that can help you. These include SKAARHOJ Wiki article for this device core, Kaspers YouTube video called HTTP Requests from Bluepill, the device core log. We used this to debug the replies, a RegEx formatting tool, Postman or similar HTTP test platforms, and of course the documentation for the devices you want to control. Alright, we're done. Now you know how to connect a SKAARHOJ panel to devices using the HTTP protocol. You learned how to set up a custom configuration and different ways to log in and send commands. We even covered how to listen for replies and use them to our advantage. Please watch our other support videos covering Bluepill setup and configuration. Thank you for watching.